The joy of the Lord is my strength. The joy of the Lord is my strength. It's a good song to start the day with, especially it's a beautiful morning. Things like that, just start bringing them, like the raindrops keep falling on my head. I grew up with that. It's such a great song. Well, when you grow up in Oregon, it is, and there's a lot of weird rains right now. So I'm kind of with that whole, was it backward? What was his name? I don't remember. It's been a long time. Anyway, so it's good to have the joy of the Lord in your strength, because right now we're having a princely reign, and a good example of that is like Jesus always talked about David and his kingdom. Well, David was a very different king than King Saul. Kind of like Trump was a lot different than King David, because like Trump made the dollar into the peso. So if you like to move to Mexico, it's just fine. But otherwise, he was kind of our King Saul, because some say that Trump was a time traveler, and Enter the Stars did a great, wow. Yeah, and sorry, I gotta give props to Enter the Stars, he's a good guy, and KJ's. They're like my two, closest things to church community that I love, like buddies, because they all seem to be like into that greatest reset, love God, right, and your neighbors yourself thing. They don't get all like, you gotta work on these doctrines. You see what I mean? So, if you think like David did after King Saul, because if King Saul was reincarnated, which I love it when people say that Christians don't believe in reincarnation, but Elijah was reincarnated, unless he didn't die, so I guess he's not officially reincarnating, but he was incarnating another person who was John, that Essene guy. And oh yes, by the way, he was a universalist, which means that everyone on earth will be saved or redeemed one way or another. Kind of like that purgatory idea, but not doctrinally. So here's the other thing about doctrinal divides. See, if you're with the king and he knows everything, and he came and exposed the houses of prayer as being dens of thieves, then we really need to work on what is the plan of the king who came and died and didn't just sacrifice himself like everybody says, because that was part of the plan, and yes, but he didn't come over and go, oh guys, oh, you're thieves, better kill me, that's it. Because first he exposed the dens of thieves and the doctrines of men that make sons of hell, and now that book has been totally deleted. So getting back to the thing about David was that when he became king, he went dancing in the streets and like, hey, you know what? I'm king now. And he took off all his clothes and like celebrated and praised God and danced in the street. And he had like, he was naked, it says, but I'm sure he like covered his, I don't know. I'm just guessing he covered his privates. But anyway, he went out in the street and he danced and And all these girls were just like, yeah, buddy. Now, I don't know how that went, and I'm not trying to figure too much out, but what I do know is that God really liked it. And, well, his wife, who was King Saul's daughter, well, she was like, what are you trying to get all these girls turned on or whatever? And, well, that was like it for her. Like, he was not his wife anymore. So whatever happened, and you want to talk about marriage has to always be a covenant. Well, no, it doesn't, because bad hearts can come out anywhere, especially when they get sold out like in pride and look down on their own spouse as the king. That's not right, you see, because she's supposed to be a queen. And if the king is coming and, well, he's marrying us, then he doesn't want a dead mummy bride. See? So there was the son that David had when he became king, and he did all these things. And oh, by the way, after he became king and he danced naked in the street, he gave every like household a fresh like roast of meat and a fresh raisin cake, like